Dear students, in the last class we discussed about the carrier concentration and Fermi energy level in intrinsic semiconductors. As well as at the last we discussed doping of impurities. So main concept of doping is in the pure semiconductor there is no free electrons. So silicon is having 4 valence electrons. Those 4 valence electrons are fully busy in their 4 covalent bonds with surrounding 4 silicon atoms. So at 0 Kelvin we discussed pure silicon is insulator, so no free electrons are available. If any free electrons are to create, we have to exert the electron from valence band to conduction band, so high amounts of energy is required. So that's why we are going to the doping, that is extrinsic semiconductor concept. So already we discussed extrinsic semiconductors are two types, that is N-type and P-type semiconductor. N-type semiconductor is formed due to the doping of pentavalent impurities, that is the fifth group element, and the P-type semiconductor is formed due to the doping of trivalent impurity, that is the third group elements. So we are preferring only these third and fifth group elements. The reason is your silica or the germanium, so your pure semiconductor belongs to fourth group elements. That's why we are preferring very immediate next group, otherwise before group, that is fifth group elements and third group elements. Now we will discuss about the formation of N-type semiconductor. So as we discussed, this N-type semiconductor will be formed due to the doping of either pentavalent impurity. Pentavalent impurity is nothing but phosphorus, arsenic, so 5 valence atom. Let us see the pure silicon structure. So each silicon atom is having 4 valence electrons. So this is the pure silicon structure. So each silicon atom is having 4 valence electrons. These 4 valence electrons are sharing with surrounding 4 silicon atoms. Now we are doping this N-type pure semiconductor silicon with pentavalent impurity, that is phosphorus atom. So we are replacing this phosphorus silicon atom with phosphorus. So I am removing this silicon with phosphorus 5 valence atom. But here the silicon requirement is surrounding silicon atoms are 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 valence electrons are enough to form these 4 covalent bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here your silicon requirement is 4, but we are adding doping element as phosphorus. So 5 valence atom. Out of 5 valence electrons, 4 valence electrons will be participated as usual in 4 covalent bonds, so we are not disturbing 4 covalent bonds. And as well as replacement, coming to the replacement, your silicon is a 4th group element, so we are replacing with 5th group element, so it will not produce much more disturbance in the size. So out of 5 valence electrons, 4 valence electrons will be 4 covalent bonds, 1 covalent one a free electron. Phosphorus valence electrons are 5, so 4 valence electrons will form 4 covalent bonds, but 1 electron remains without any covalent bond, phosphorus 5th valence electron, but it is not a free, it belongs to the phosphorus atom, phosphorus 5th valence electron, phosphorus outermost electron. So if we remove this 5th valence electron, then we can use that 5th electron as a free electron. That is the main concept of doping concept. So once again I am giving the concept. Your silicon requirement is 4, because 4 valence electrons, 4 covalent bond, but we are substituting the atom 5 valence atom. So out of 4 valence electron, out of 5 valence electrons, 4 valence electrons will be 4 covalent bonds will form and one electron remains without any covalent, but it is not a free, it belongs to the phosphorus. So when we supply small amount of energy, that is ionization energy, your phosphorus atom will release that fifth valence electron. So as we know that the free electrons will lies in conduction band, valency band and the conduction band. So this phosphorus fifth valence electron will be removed by supplying ionization energy. So the released free electron will lies in the conduction band, because as we know that free electrons will lies in the conduction band. But main the concept of here, phosphorus atom is donating the electrons. It was giving its fifth valence electron. So here the phosphorus atom is donating the electrons to the conduction band for the process of conduction. So these phosphorus atoms are called as donors because they are donating their electrons to the conduction band. Now coming to the donor energy level, we are supplying only small amount of energy, ionization energy, your phosphorus atom promoting its electron to the conduction band. So your donor atom's energy level lies very close to the conduction band edge. So this much of small energy which is equal to ionization energy is enough to create a free electron. But in the intrinsic semiconductor we have to exert electron from valency band to conduction band. But in the n-type semiconductor, small amount of energy we are creating one electron. So by donating that electron, your phosphorus atom becomes positive ion because it was donating an electron to the conduction band. So after donating the electron, your phosphorus atom will become positive ion because it was releasing its electron. So donor atoms will become positive. Some of the donor atoms may not release their electrons. Right? This is the case. If we give more energy, high energy, the electrons will also excite from valency band to conduction band by forming holes in the valency band. Right? So here the conduction band contains the electrons from two sources. One is from donor atoms are donating the electrons. Another source is high amounts of energy. Valency band is promoting the electrons from valency band to conduction band. So now let us count the number of electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 from donor atoms, 2 from valency band. But number of holes are only 2. So the majority carriers are electrons. The charge of majority carriers is negative. That's why we are calling it is n-type semiconductor. Next, coming to the Fermi energy level. Fermi energy level lies in the middle of conduction band edge and donor energy level. This is the Fermi energy level position. So briefly, once again I am discussing about the n-type semiconductor. Silicon requirement is 4, but we are substituting 5 valence atom. Out of 5 valence electrons, 4 valence electrons will be as usual 4 covalent bonds. 1 electron will remain without any bonding. So we remove that electron by supplying ionization energy. So that free electron will exist in conduction band. So here your phosphorus atoms or the pentavalent atoms are donating the electrons. So that's why we are calling those are donor atoms. By donating the electrons to the conduction band, they are becoming positive ions. So with small energy, that is ionization energy is enough. And next point is, if we give high energy, the electrons will also promote valency band to conduction band by forming holes in the valence band. So we are counting the number of electrons are 4 in the valence conduction band, 2 holes are in valency band. Because the conduction band contains the electrons from two sources, from donor atom as well as from the valency band. So the majority charge carriers are electrons. Their charge is negative. That's why we are calling it is n-type semiconductor. Next we will discuss about the p-type semiconductor. P-type semiconductor. So this p-type semiconductor will be formed by adding trivalent impurity. Trivalent impurity, that is third group element. 3 valence atom, that is third group element. Third group element. So same, consider your silicon. Same, we are considering the pure silicon. So silicon, 4 valence electrons, 4 covalent bonds as usual. Now let us see the concept of p-type semiconductor formation. Just consider the pure semiconductor. So 4 valence electrons, 4 covalent bonds, no free electrons, but here we are substituting trivalent atom, 3 valence atom, that is your silicon is 14, so I am preferring aluminum is 13. So I am replacing this silicon with aluminum. So aluminum is only 3 valence electrons atom. So out of 4 covalent bonds, 3 covalent bonds will be formed. 1 covalent bond will be lack of electron. 1 covalent bond will be incomplete. But this incomplete covalent bond is not equal to a whole. 1 covalent bond is lack of electron. So here the requirement for the silicon is 4, but we are substituting aluminum 3 valence atom. Out of 4 covalent bonds, 3 covalent bonds will be formed as usual. 1 covalent bond remains lack of electron, but this lack of electron we can't recognize as a whole. To complete that incomplete covalent bond, your aluminum atom will accept an electron from the surrounding silicons. To complete that fourth incomplete covalent bond, your aluminum atoms will accept an electron from the surrounding silicon by forming a hole. So 4 covalent bonds will be completed by forming a hole. So here the aluminum atoms are accepting the electrons from the surrounding silicons. That's why these aluminum atoms are called as acceptors, because they are accepting the electrons from the surrounding silicons by forming a hole. By accepting that extra electron, your aluminum becomes negative ion. Let us see the energy band diagram. Conduction band, valency band. So here your aluminum is accepting electrons from the surrounding silicon. So surrounding silicon electron is accepting by your acceptor atoms. So acceptor energy level will lies very nearer to valency band, because very small, with the small amount of energy they are accepting the electron. By accepting, aluminum atoms are becoming negative by forming holes like this. Some of the acceptor atoms may not accept the electrons. So if we give more energy, the electrons will also excite from valency band to conduction band by forming holes in the valency band. So here the valency band contains the holes from two sources. One is by accepting the electrons by the acceptor atoms, holes are forming, as well as by giving high energies, the electrons are promoting valency band to the conduction band. So here the valency band contains more number of holes, less number of electrons. So majority carriers are holes, and charge of majority carriers is positive charge. Holes charge is positive, that's why we are calling it is p-type semiconductor. So here the concept is the requirement of your silicon is 4, but we are giving 3 valence atom. So 1 covalent bond will be incomplete. To complete that incomplete covalent bond, your aluminum atom is accepting an electron from the surrounding silicon, and it was forming that fourth incomplete covalent bond by forming a hole. So here aluminum atom is accepting the electron from the surrounding silicon. That's why we are calling, these are called as acceptors. By accepting the extra electron, it becomes a negative ion. Next, energy band diagram. The acceptor atoms are accepting the electrons from the valency band, valence electron of the silicon. That's why your acceptor energy level lies very close to the acceptor energy level. By accepting, it becomes negative ions because extra electron by forming holes in the valency band. If you give more energy, the electrons will also promote from valency band to conduction band by forming holes. So here the valency band contains the electron holes from two sources, one from acceptor atoms, other from promoting the electrons from valency band to conduction band. So the majority charge carriers are holes and minority carriers are electrons. The charge of holes is positive, that's why we are calling this p-type semiconductor. And coming to the Fermi energy level, this Fermi energy level will lies, this is EV, valency band edge. It will lies middle between acceptors and valency band edge. So in the next class we will discuss about the electron concentration in n-type, hole concentration in p-type. Hope all of you understand the formation of N-type and P-type.